Welcome. Today I'm going to show you the use of the Atlona 238 profile. To start off, what you're going to need to do is import any profiles that you downloaded off the website into your Savant profile database. To do this, go into your RacePoint Blueprint software, click on the RacePoint Blueprint menu, go ahead and click on Preferences. Select a folder to import your new profiles into. Click Import. Navigate to the folder that you've downloaded and select the profiles that you wish to import. And go ahead and click Import. Repeat this step for any other profiles that you want to import. Once you're done, go ahead and close this window and you can start utilizing the profiles you've imported. To start, for the Atlona Omni 238 profile, which is an audio decoder, we will go ahead and place that profile from our library into our blueprint. Now, because this unit is going to decode audio for several different zones, you need to make sure that this device lands into a shared zone. Your outputs from this device may be connected to an amplifier and or powered speakers. So we'll go ahead and add that. Now, if you'll note, the output currently is a stereo output. And that is by default. The system is set up for stereo outputs because most of the use for AV is going to be stereo. If you need to utilize this as mono, I will show you towards the end of the video on how to do that. Before I add the speaker zone, I'm going to make sure I add a couple additional rooms here. Okay, now I can add my speakers. And I'll make my connection for my speakers to my outputs. Now, I need an input going into this. In order to generate services, all my inputs, these are mono inputs, and we need to utilize 2 to create a stereo stream for the end service to utilize. Now there's a couple ways to do this. One is you could use a generic Dante stream, which should be included in the bundle that you downloaded. And you can name this however you want to make sure it shows up appropriately. You'll notice that this has 2 outputs, so we'll go ahead and connect this to consecutive outputs. And we can go ahead and utilize that into the system. We may have audio coming from a 512 encoder. And in order for this to generate all the services properly, we need to make sure that we actually have the device that it's going to encode. Now, you'll notice that in the profile, I only have Dante inputs. So if that's all you're using, that's great. You can land as many Dante sources as you want and place them in there. If you are in fact using a 521 converter, then you'll be using an AES input. And you'll notice there's no AES inputs here quite yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change the input to be an AES input. And this is important because this will allow the profile to know how to set up your connection. So we're going to go ahead and click on this device, show in inspector, and we are going to scroll down to slots. And in this, we're going to see slot 1, 2, 3, we're going to see slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all output slots, and you'll see it says stereo here. If we scroll down a little further, we'll see slot 1 in, slot in 1, Dante, slot in 2, Dante. So we're going to go ahead and change 4 and 5 to AES. So I'm going to select on this. I'm going to click the backspace or delete key. It's going to prompt me, do we want to delete the module? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and do that again for 4. Delete. Now I can go ahead and grab this AES card, slide that in there, slide that in there, and we can go ahead and close this. You can repeat this for as many AES slots as you have. If they're all AES, then you have to go through and change all 16 inputs to AES. We'll go ahead and close this. Now we'll see here we have AES in, and we can take our audio right here to our AES inputs. Don't forget to make your HDMI connection to your source component. Now, as you may have noticed, if we're on this AES input, it's lighting up these Dante inputs. The profile will not work to make a connection to an AES source if you have it connected to a Dante input. So it's very important to make sure that if you're coming from AES, that you change your slot input to AES. Okay, so now what we're going to do is enter in our stream information into the Omni 238 profile. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the device, we're going to click show in inspector, and we're going to make sure that we go to the state variables tab. Now, what's going to make this easy to look up is to pull up the Dante controller. This allows us to view the naming convention that is used for making audio connections. So as you can see, we have a couple transmitters, Dante Music, an Omni 232, and this right here, session 4, that is, those are when something has the IP address at, that's an AES stream. So that's when you know you're going to have to put it into the AES stream name. So let's look at what we have here. We have AES in 3 and AES in 4. So we have to go to 3 and 4, and we're going to enter our session 4 name. We do not need the IP address or the @ sign. So we're going to go ahead and enter session 4. We're going to go ahead and enter session 4 again, because we need both the left and right channel from that. So we're going to go to AES stream slot, and again we're on inputs 3 and 4, so we want 3 and 4, and then we can go ahead and hit this plus sign next to it, and it gives us our slot names. So we'll see it's 01 through 08. By default, 1 and 2 is your left and right channel. So we can go ahead and put 01 in there, and we can go ahead and put 02 in there. Then we're going to scroll down, and we're using Dante input 1 and 2. So we're going to go to the Dante device name, and our device is Dante Music. And we're going to repeat that here. We're going to then go down to Dante stream name, and that stream name is 01 and 02, and that gets our left and right streams. Now, if we were to go in here and rename this something that made more sense to our network, and we want our transmit to actually say left and right, now that these names in here are left and right, we have to make sure that this name in here matches, because this 0, 1 as a transmitting name is no longer exists. So this would have to be left, and this would have to be right. Once you've done this for all your inputs, all your connections here, and you've made all your output connections, you're all set to go ahead and build your config. Now, if you happen to have more than one Omni 238 in the config, and they were all using the same inputs, you can go ahead and put another Omni 238 in. And one of the things that's right down here at the bottom of the profile are loop outputs. So this loop output is going to loop whatever comes in 1. So we go ahead and make our connection here up to in 1. We make our connection down here to in 2 or to out 2. Now keep in mind 3 and 4 are AES, so we have to switch this to AES for 3 and 4. We're going to go ahead and click on that, go into Inspector, go under Slots, and in 3 and in 4, we're going to delete. We're going to put AES on those. And now we can make our connections here. So now the audio path in Savant is following through here, but we still need to configure our inputs, our stream names, just as we did in the initial. So we're going to go ahead and show our inspector again, go back to state variables, and we have to then go through and place our names on these streams again. The other thing I wanted to show real briefly is how to change an output from a stereo output to a mono output in case you had wanted separate output volumes and separate routing control. So again, we're going to go into Inspector here, go under Slots, and right here at the top we have our slots 1 through 16. And if we want to change this to mono, we're going to go ahead and click on it, click Delete. We can click Delete, and we're going to just drag mono cards onto those slots. Now when we go back out here, we're going to see now we have a mono 1, mono 2, mono 3, mono 4, and the ones I didn't change are still stereo 5, 6, stereo 7, 8, stereo 8, 9. I hope this video helped you with your understanding of the Omni 238 profile for the Savant system. Please utilize the documentation for additional information, and if you still need further assistance, please contact Atlona Technical Support. Thank you.